Hello again, and welcome to Winning with the Wrangler at Dick Powell's Leadership Corner, brought to you by Earth, Wind, Fire, Water Training and Development, where our passion is building leaders of today and tomorrow. Leaders, the information you're going to hear today was gathered from many different places and many different people. If you hear yourself in our conversation today, please remember it is not all about you. Last evening, I was sitting here in the office and I looked over and picked up one of John C. Maxwell's books. It's one that John handed me at a seminar, and it was called Developing the Leader Within You. In this book, John really starts to look at what leaders are, where they came from, how they're, made. And he always asks the question, do you believe the leader was made or were they developed? Well, he always asks the question, have you ever seen a baby that come out and be a leader? Answers, yep. Because I'll tell you what, they let you know when they're hungry, when they need to be changed, and they lead you wherever they want you to go. First lessons in leadership. He goes on to really say that there's this 1, 2, 3, 4 kinds of leadership. And I'm going to share them with you right from this book, this Developing the Leader Within You by John Maxwell. The reason I'm going to share them is because as leaders, I believe we need to look inside ourselves and really spend some time there and think about these things, as well as when we're looking as leaders, growing other leaders around us, where these other people fit in and how we can be best serve them. He starts off at the top of the list, which I thought was interesting. The leading leader, he called it. And he says, as a leading leader is born with leadership qualities. Now, John and I both agree on this. We both agree that leadership is an inborn thing. We believe everybody has it and starts off with it. It's just what happens next. Leading leaders have seen leadership modeled throughout their life. Boy, these are lucky people when you think about it. These are people who have been around other leaders and seen it modeled, not just talked about. Lucky people. The leading leader has learned a good deal of leadership through instruction. They have taken the time to go and learn more. Go to a seminar, read some books, listen to someone who has, been there, done that. Another leader who they want to be like and model themselves with. The leading leader is self-disciplined to become a great leader. And when John talks about self-discipline, it's more than just, I'm going to discipline myself to get up and get dressed every morning. It's a discipline of ongoing continuous learning, a discipline of curiosity, of always wanting to learn and know more. It's a discipline of sharing knowledge and sharing knowledge with other folks around you, so as they too can come on board and be with you. You see, a leading leader knows it's not crossing the finishing line all by themselves. It's going with more people. Now he goes on to take and put a note at the bottom of these things, and he says, note that there are 3 out of the 4 of these qualities are acquired. Is born with leadership qualities, has seen leadership modeled throughout their life, has learned a good leadership through training, and has self-discipline to become a great leader. 3 out of the 4 had been acquired. He went on to talk about the learned leader. The learned leader. He says the learned leader has seen leadership modeled most of his life. Well, okay. The learned leader has learned leadership through instruction. That makes sense. The learned leader has self-discipline to become a great leader. Those are very similar, aren't they? The only one that's different is that it has seen leadership modeled most of the life instead of all of his life or her life. The latent leader, he goes on to say that the latent leader has just recently seen leadership modeled. It's a brand new thing. That's scary to me. The latent leader is learning to be a leader through instruction. That's good. That means they're taking some initiative on their own. And I believe great leaders put initiative way ahead of most things they do in their life. The latent leader has self-discipline to become a great leader. Okay? And they put a little note at the bottom of it. It said, note all these qualities are acquired. In other words, they had to go get them. They weren't just born with them. And the limited leader has little or no exposure to other leaders. The limited leader has little or no exposure to leadership instruction. The limited leader has no desire to become a leader. When I started looking at these, I started really thinking back to myself, where was it that I first started thinking about becoming a leader and what it meant? Now, whether you agree with the political movement or things that are happening in today's world about Boy Scouting, I have to tell you that is really where this started. You see, at the age of 14, I became a senior patrol leader. I was that guy way down the bottom, the limited leader. I had had very little exposure to other leaders. They weren't in my family or the people that I was with. I'd had very little exposure to any kind of leadership instruction until that time. And be quite honest with you, if I hadn't been thrown into the circle, I probably would have never raised my hand. I went on, though, to really push forward because I saw something that I believed in and wanted to be a part of. And fortunately, Scouting provided that leadership instruction. And the adult people that were there were guiding me to become something that they saw in me that I didn't have a clue. They knew that my home life was an interesting opportunity, but they saw something else in this young man who was 14. My wife likes to tell the story that at this time that I became senior patrol leader, we were in a troop. Her dad was my scoutmaster, and we were in a troop that didn't have a lot of money, so her dad would give up 1 week of his family vacation and take us to the river, and he would camp his family down the river, a good ways away from all of us boys. You can bet that, because he had 2 girls. And he would spend that week taking us to what we called summer camp on the river. Now, that part started a journey for me that never has stopped. That part of instruction and learning, that ongoing continuous learning of leadership. When people ask me, Dick, what do you do for a living? I tell them, quite frankly, I I speak and instruct about leadership and accountability, and I've done it for, well, most of my 60-some years. You see, when I had to really start and think to myself, when did it start? Where did it get the seeds planted? But it didn't stop there. I continued on reading and learning and listening and going to seminars and going to instructions. And I still do that, by the way. And that's how when John put this in my hand, I believe he did it for a reason. I believe he wanted me to know that these 4 steps that people go through, if they want to, if they desire to, if they have this desire for ongoing continuous learning, the desire, the curiosity of life. You see, I knew that I wasn't a leading leader yet. I had not been around leadership until then. And I've sought it out ever since. Leaders, look around you. Do you see something in someone who could have or should have, even might have the innate ability to lead? It just needs a little bit of help and encouragement. Just like I did back then, long time ago. And as I went through my life, I had many different people hand me many different books. In my earlier years, I worked at a large organization, and there was a good gentleman there who one day said, have you ever read, let me get it for you. Have you ever read Servant Leadership, A Journey into the Nature of Legitimate Power and Greatness by Robert K. Greenleaf? I said, no. Why would I do that? You know, I was indoctrinated into all the scouting way, and the scouting way weren't working for me. My early 30s, though, I picked this back up, and I started to really spend some time with it. And as I did, I realized that servant leadership was where I wanted to be, and is really what I'd always done. But I needed to take it farther. That's how I got involved with instruction and instructing folks. Now, being a leader, if you look at this thing, you become an influencer. You see, whether we want to admit it or not, all of us are leaders. All of us have someone who follows us. The difference is some are influencers for good, and some are influencers for, well, not so good. So the question comes to this: how do I become an influencer in the positive piece? You see, it's not something you just wake up and do. This is part of your legacy as a person. They were an influencer. What's that mean? Does that mean that when they spoke, everybody just dropped down on one knee and gave them praise? No, that's not what it meant. It meant that these people had taken the time to get involved and learn and study and do research so they could make quality decisions and choices. And for me, those are the folks I wanted to be around. They were my influencers. So you need to ask yourself, who are you influencing? Whether you understand it or not. That first scoutmaster I had influenced me quite a bit. Made me realize that not only did I have this innate ability to lead, but I could learn a new way to raise a family, be involved with a family, be involved with an organization, a corporation, own my own company. This all started way back when, but it took many, many years till it happened. So what does it mean to be an influencer? The questions I wrote down here for you, the leaders out there, the number one is, are you an influencer? Do people actually come to you to find out things, to encourage things, to learn things? Are you an influencer? Are you the place that people go to really find out what's going on and how's that happening? And can you tell me more? You need to ask yourself that question. Are you an influencer? The second question I wrote down is, let me get this up here so I don't mess it up. Who are you influencing? Who is it that you're sending this big influence around on? Is it your wife? Is it your children? Is it the people you work with? Is it the people in the community, the nation, and the country? Well, where is it? Who are they? If you can't answer that question, you need to spend some time there and really look into it. The next question is this. When you look at other people and you say, gosh, they're an influencer, what do they exude that makes you want to be near them, to follow them, to learn more from them? What is it that they have that they're putting out there? And why are they doing it? I'll tell you what, I guarantee they're not doing it for money. You see, influencers don't do the work that way. Yes, we all need to earn a living and all those kind of things, but if you're not sharing your knowledge, if you're not taking your time to help other people, if they're not coming to you to ask questions, you might want to ask that question, am I an influencer? But what do they exude that makes you want to be near them? Well, how do I become an influencer? I guess that's the question. First of all, you need to be a servant leader. And a servant leader is exactly what it says. I serve other people before myself. In our corporation, we're not someone I don't have people who work for me. I have people who work with me. In that influencing situation, I guarantee you that there's other influencers on my team. That influencer of who handles my money, the long-term financial investments. Boy, they're an influencer that I listen to quite frankly, a lot. Who's the influencer of my personal health care, my doctors? Who's my influencer of my legal life, my lawyers? Who's the influencer in my life that, quite frankly, I don't know what I'd do without? I'd be Miss Rob. You see, we all have influencers. So how do I become one? I think that it's pretty simple. Be a good person. Do the right thing. Have integrity. Be trustworthy. There was a lady who I really responded to, and I enjoyed her book quite a lot. We ran together in a book signing opportunity, and her name was Gina Folk, F-O-L-K, and she had a book called People Leadership, 30 Strategies to Ensure Your Team's Success. And I have to tell you, Gina's book was right on the money. I'll tell you what, I just really enjoyed it. But the 30 things, I think I have time to read. I'm not so sure I have time to get into every one of them. So I'm going to encourage you as leaders to go and pick this book up, People Leadership, 30 Strategies to Ensure Your Team's Success by Gina Folk, F-O-L-K. All right, number 1, be authentically transparent. Number 2, be adaptable. Number 3, respect and appreciate diversity. Number 4, build a strength-based team. Build a strength-based team. Number 5, provide clarity and purpose to the team. Number 6, delegate. Number 7, Communicate, communicate, communicate. That was a great chapter, by the way. Number 7, be innovative. Number 7, listen. Number 9, listen. Number 10, collaborate. Number 11, exude confidence. Number 12, motivate. Number 13, guidance, not control. Boy, I love the coaching method here. Number 14, manage the personal stuff. Number 15, use power wisely. Number 16, practice risk acceptance. Number 17, give credit, accept blame. Number 18, address difficult team members immediately. Number 19, measurement with purpose. Love those metrics. Number 20, celebrate success. Number 21, influence Chicken Little. Great piece there. Number 22, continually improve leadership. Gosh. Number 23, empower people. Number 24, be accessible. Number 25, value check policies and processes. Going to check them through our mission and vision. Number 26, be a reinforcer. Not an enforcer, but a reinforcer. Number 27, master your own personal mindset. Number 28, one of my favorites, have fun. Number 29, recharge your battery. And number 30, be the model. I asked her why she didn't put be the model first. And she said that these other things you need to learn to do. You need to put into your own personal practice. And then be the model. Show that they all work and why they work and why you're doing what you're doing, so it rubs off onto the team and they start doing the same things with their other team members. I had a long talk with Gina, and I found out that this was an important piece that she put together, and that's why I'm telling you about it today. Some of the things that we kind of both highlighted when we were speaking were the thing of being accessible. As leaders, sometimes we just get so dad blame busy that we kind of forget there's other people out there who A, need to ask us a question, B, need us. Quite frankly, if you're never accessible, pretty soon people are not going to stop. They're going to stop coming. And when they do that, your organization is going to start losing. So make sure that that's it. We also talked about how being a leader, being adaptable, or maintaining MARF, as Miss Robin would say, MARF, maintain absolute rigid flexibility. But this thing of adaptability means that we're always looking at what's going on in our world and around us, around our corporation, around our people, so we can adapt to the different ways things are happening. Now, we must understand as leaders that sometimes adaptability is not what we need to do. We need to stay strong on where we're at. But when adaptability is part of the thing we need to do, we need to do it immediately. We also really came down and started to think about this one, delegation. As leaders, delegation sends a message to those people around us or on the team that we trust them. That we trust them with their gifts and the talents and abilities to really make things happen. We as leaders, if we hold it close to the vest, we send the other kind of message that we do not trust them. And this breaks down the team very quickly. So delegate things. If they can do it 80% as well as you can, delegate it out. Make sure it makes happen. She went on to say that when she wrote the number 7, it was communicate, communicate, communicate. She realized that we should have an easy time as leaders communicating from one to another in our team. And why is it such a struggle? Why do we send text message that is all in caps or send an email that is quite rude? Why can't we communicate face to face and or even on a telephone where we're speaking to one another? We have all these communication devices today that which seems like it has taken farthest apart than put us together. And that's why she wrote it 3 times. Communicate, communicate, communicate. I really, really thought that was pretty good. She said as leaders, we need to always listen more and speak less. And, you know, if you heard me at all, you always heard Miss Robbins' thing about 2E plus 1M, 2 ears plus 1 mouth. You know, good Lord gave us 2 ears. Listen twice as much as we talk. That's a good thing. Motivation. We both came to the conclusion that leaders need to motivate people. They need to always encourage. They need to always be letting people know that they're appreciated, that, you know, we couldn't do it without you. Those kind of things are pretty simple to say, but they need to be more than just words. They need to be some actions. And that, my friends, is a mark of a great leader, especially on a team. Oh, man. This one was a little harder, but we both agreed on it. Address difficult team members immediately. Sometimes team members just don't fit into the team. Maybe they got on the wrong bus. Maybe they're in the wrong seat. That's something you need to find out. But you can't do that unless you have some kind of relationship with that person. But if they're always bringing the team down, they're always negative, they're always really pouncing on the negative and not the positive, you need to do something about it. And you need to do it immediately. My grandfather raised me, and he often told me about the one bad apple in the barrel. Didn't understand it a whole lot because I didn't grow up in a time when apples came in a barrel and there was always one on the bottom that was rotten. I did, though, go and visit an orchard and found out and learned that that's a true statement, that one bad apple can ruin the whole barrel. And same way with a team. You need to find out whether they just flat don't need to be on that team and we need to find someplace else for them to be, or they're in the wrong chair or the wrong seat, so to speak, in the bus, and they can be moved and become a positive part of the team. But again, without building a relationship, you don't know. Leadership is really relationship based. John says leadership is influence, nothing more than nothing less. But it's more than that. I believe it's relationship that brings the influence. And without it, I don't believe you can have it. The next one was to make sure that you value check everything. You see, you need to know what your vision is, your picture. You need to know what your mission is, your purpose. And that makes you available to look at the strategy, your plan. And that plan, your day-to-day opportunities that you're going to do, they're going to allow you to live out your mission, your purpose, and achieve your vision, your plan, your picture. But if you're not doing that, you're going to be falling apart. Again, please pick up this book by Gina Folk, People Leadership, 30 Strategies to Ensure Your Team's Success. Now, my team has just given me that high sign, says, hey, Dick, you're running out of time. So on behalf of myself, Dick Powell, and the whole Leadership Corner team, I want to say thank you for being a part of today's program. Now, our hope is that you've received a nugget of wisdom and guidance that will help you become a better leader. Now, if you have any questions or comments on today's program, do not hesitate. Give us a phone call, 727-422-1833. Send me an email, dick@ewfw.org. Go to the website, spend some time. There's a place there to send me a note, www.ewfw.org. And when you're ready for me to come, Dick Powell, to your location to give a seminar on leadership and or give a keynote speech for your organization, don't hesitate. get on our call real quick. We book up fast for the year. And I see, until next time, this is DW the Wrangler saying, ride hard, ride fast.